Well, Ray, the $20,000 car has largely disappeared, and some folks, especially the listeners here in Northern Michigan, may feel like that kind of happened overnight. You know, up here we tend to hold on to our cars maybe a little longer than the national average. Maybe 8, 9, 10 years since they took a trip to the dealership, and they're looking around like, hey, where did all these $20,000 cars go? So what happened, and did we actually arrive here quickly, or does it just feel like that?
Well, it sort of feels like that, and the thing that sped it up to a certain degree was during the pandemic when many of the automakers canceled their chip orders that they needed for their vehicles because they had cut down production. And then when they tried to reorder those chips that they needed, well, suddenly the chip manufacturer said, we're building other chips, you're going to have to wait. And once that happened, when the number of chips was minimalized for the automakers, they decided they were just going to build the high profit margin, higher priced vehicles as opposed to the lower profit margin, lower priced vehicles.
And part of the story is inflation. You also just mentioned the chip manufacturing issue. Is that the only things that are at play in this price increase?
Well, there are so many things in play. I mean, between tariffs, between fuel costs, between costs of repairs going up. Everywhere you look, there is a contributing factor to it. But the biggest factor was that in 2019, the average new car selling price was $37,000. In 2025, 6 years later, that average selling price had gone up by $11,000 to $48,000. And that primarily was driven by the fact that manufacturers were producing fewer cars, and the cars that they were manufacturing were the higher profit margin vehicles that tend to be priced in excess of $50,000.
Ray, something that many of us have noticed, and especially near and dear to me, I love sedans. My last car was a Ford Fusion. My current car is a Chevy Impala. Sedans have largely disappeared from the market. You may have touched on it when you talked about maybe a little bit more focus on a higher-priced vehicle, but why have the sedans been nearly eliminated, it feels like, in the market, and likely that's playing a role in the increase in price?
Well, absolutely, that's impacted the increase in price. But sedans are still popular. You look around, the Toyota Camry is a very popular vehicle, the Toyota Corolla, and those are two vehicles that between them fall either well below $40,000 or well below $30,000. It just, for whatever reason, Americans tend to think that what we really need are big vehicles, when in fact what we really need are reasonably priced vehicles. And so oftentimes we fall prey to the marketing that these automakers have done, where they've convinced us we need that bigger is better. And so people have just kind of shunned many of the sedans. And obviously, many of the manufacturers have just done away with sedans altogether. Look at Ford.
Yeah. Well, what you just mentioned there kind of leads me to my next question. It's kind of what came first, the chicken or the egg? You mentioned that Americans seem to like to have bigger vehicles, but also falling prey to maybe some of the advertisements from the vehicle manufacturers. Did consumers truly stop wanting affordable cars, or did automakers simply stop offering them?
Well, I can tell you from 43 years in the car business on the retail side of things, base model vehicles tend to sit longer than vehicles that have higher trim levels. So manufacturers tend to make less of those. And the reason for that, the reason that they sit longer, is because everybody has been trained to think that they need more than they really do. That if I come home with just a base vehicle, what are my friends and neighbors going to think about me when they're driving a vehicle with more equipment that was more expensive? So part of it is psychological, part of it is the marketing that's done, and part of it is that as consumers, we don't seem to have the discipline to just buy what it is that we need as opposed to what it is that we want.
Is the used car market also seeing similar pains in terms of affordability?
Yes, it's the proverbial a rising tide raises all boats. We have seen just through the first 6 months of this year that the average asking price for pre-owned cars has gone up $1,350. So as new car prices have gone up, so have corresponding used car prices. The spread between the two has remained significant enough that people still want to buy the used cars, but they're paying more money to do it.
We're with Ray Shefska, the co-founder of CarEdge. You usually recommend 2 to 3 year old manufacturer-certified pre-owned vehicles. Why do they represent such a strong value in today's market?
If it is a manufacturer-certified pre-owned, it comes with an extended warranty. The original warranty has been extended. The bumper-to-bumper coverage has been extended. I think one of the best buys out there today are certified pre-owned retired service loaners, vehicles that the dealership has used for their service customers so that they have transportation while their vehicles in for the shop for repair. Those vehicles typically get sold between 4,000 and 6,000 miles on them, and can save you significant money, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. So, retired service loaners, 2 and 3 year old young cars that are manufacturer certified, those represent some of the best values in the industry at the moment.
What are some common mistakes that consumers make when shopping for an affordable vehicle?
They don't shop the out-the-door price. And what I mean by the out-the-door price is you need to get a breakdown of what the total cost of the vehicle is, including all fees. And so people need to understand what their budget is and then what cars will fit into that budget, as opposed to getting sidetracked and getting upsold into vehicles that might be beyond their budget.
CarEdge offers online calculators and AI-powered shopping tools. How can those resources help consumers understand the true cost of ownership and avoid paying more than they should?
Well, the AI negotiator is unlike a human being in the sense that there's no passion associated with it. There's no fear of missing out. An AI negotiator is just going to work on getting to the bottom line best price it can. The tactics that dealerships would use that would make a customer feel fearful won't work with an AI negotiator. And then, honestly, with so much information on the internet today, there's really no excuse for someone to not have done their due diligence to understand what their budget is and to understand what vehicles fall into their budget.
We're speaking with Ray Shefska, co-founder of CarEdge. You can find them on social media by simply searching for CarEdge, all one word, or visit their website, CarEdge.com. Ray, thank you so much for the time and insight. Really do appreciate it.
My pleasure, Nick. Anytime.